Well, welcome to Breakfast with the Broker. Every Tuesday morning at 9 a.m., I got to say, we are in for a treat, a real treat. So, here we go. The intro is Coming Way by Greenville, South Carolina, the co-host of the Bob and Brad Show, the producer of the Buy with Bob series. He drinks beer on the show. He eats food on the show. He also is the best goddamn realtor ever. Just I'll tell you, Mr. Bob Thompkins.
What is up?
Hey, Bob, how are you? Good morning.
Doing good. How are you, David?
Good, man. So I'll tell you what, your Gamecocks jersey, you're representing the South Carolina. Good stuff. Sorry,
right.
Steve Spurrier's not there anymore, I don't think.
No, he's not. He left us high and dry.
So, for those that, you all know Bob Thompkins because he's everywhere. He produces Foodie Fridays. He produces, Buy with Bob. I really like those video testimonial series as such. Tell us a little bit about, maybe your real estate career, how long you've been in the business, and when you started to get into video.
Yeah. So I got into real estate in June of 2016. So I've been in the business right at 4 years. I got into it mainly because both my parents are real estate agents. So I had a little bit of insight into the business when I got started. But I didn't get started in the same area as them. They live about 2 hours away from me. But was in the business for a while, and then had built a decent brand, but I didn't have a whole lot of forward facing content. So I got into video about a year and a half ago, and I dove in head first all the way, and I have seen some pretty good results as a result of it.
Awesome. Michael Nathanson just tuned in this morning, and it's his birthday. So happy birthday, Mr. Michael Nathanson. I'd say, Bob, we should sing happy birthday, but no one wants to hear my voice. They might want to hear yours, but not mine. You did get pretty famous through your viral video of Old Town Realtor and Old Town, the parody of Old Town Road. What was the original how'd you come up with that?
So I don't know, my entire life, I've always kind of made, I've reworked words in songs to make them into kind of parodies, just really for my own amusement than anything else. And I used to get on like Snapchat, and just put my words over songs, just for laughs. And I sent out a Snapchat actually of that to some of my friends back in right when Old Town Road first came out, like late February of 2019. And I had put some Realtor lyrics above it. And one of my friends responded, and she was like, please make a music video. So she put the thought in my head, and I was like, maybe I can write an entire song. I had just started working with a videographer who had done some video testimonials for me. And I was like, maybe this will work. So we put it together, and the original intent was really to just try and kind of become really well known in the upstate of South Carolina. I was really only hoping for around 30 to 40,000 views. And I thought that would be a massive success. So that was kind of the idea behind it. Had no idea it would turn into what it did.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. Has it led to business? And that's what people start to think. You look around, a lot of social media, a lot of video, people putting content out there, but sometimes there's no ROI on it.
Right.
For realtors listening, does it lead to business?
Yeah. So I think one of the big misconceptions when it comes to the big videos is people expect to be able to sit down, make one video, and get business from it. And that's not what video is about. Sure, one commercial can have a very positive effect in a marketplace, but the idea behind doing video is brand awareness and being top of mind. So you have to do it consistently. And you just have to be putting out a wealth of content. The one big video isn't necessarily going to do it. That being said, Old Town Realtor I generated 3 deals off of that video specifically. So, it did bring me a return, but if you think it got 1.2 million views, 3 deals three deals off of 1.2 million views is not a great return. So like going viral, because you're not going to get 1.2 million views just for making a good video. That's like, it's like getting struck by lightning.
Right.
So you really can't depend on that, making that high end video, because if it had only got 200,000 views, mathematically, I wouldn't have gotten any deals out of it.
Right.
So, that's the trade-off there. When you're doing consistent video, though, you're top of mind, you're going to get way more business that way.
And you're really committed to video. So you put a lot of content out there. Does it take a long time to create these videos? I mean, I got to say, the Buy with Bob video testimonials are awesome. If you haven't seen them, definitely check them out, because I think, it's great, bringing and allowing your buyers to participate in the process afterwards to tell you really how things are going.
Yeah. Obviously I have committed a ton to video. It does take a lot of time. But by a lot, it's not nearly as much as people would think. I tell people I probably spend about 5 or 6 hours a week on video. And the thing is about that, when people push back on me, they're like, I don't have 5 or 6 hours. You're running a business. We're individual business owners as real estate agents. All good businesses market themselves. They advertise themselves. One of the biggest mistakes that a lot of realtors make is that they're not marketing. They just depend on their sphere of influence. They depend on word of mouth, and they're not putting their face out there. Any good business is spending that time, that money on advertising. So, that's the thing for me. It's easy to justify 5 or 6 hours a week, because it's basically an hour a day that I'm putting to advertising my business to keep myself top of mind with the people in my marketplace.
For those listening that really, maybe have a hard time with video, right? Do you think, like, how should they get started?
So, I went a little bit heavier in video when I first got started. Most people will tell you, just pick up your phone and start doing it. I don't believe that's the best way to do it, because you have no financial commitment to video if you just pick up your phone. So if you're doing it by yourself and you're not partnering with other people in your marketplace to create video, then there's zero accountability. So for me, I always recommend make the financial investment to be able to keep yourself accountable, because you have the financial accountability. Like your spouse or partner is going to be looking at you like, hey, you spent $1,500 on this stuff. Why aren't you using it? It's one of those things that really helped me early on. I spent about $1,200 to $1,500 right at the beginning on some pretty good video equipment. It wasn't the best stuff. It wasn't the stuff I have now by any means, but it got me in the door and it made me committed to making videos for my business.
So you have a little skin in the game, and that's kind of, I agree with that as well. Now, there are two schools of thought. One is, to go the whole professional route, like you've gone. And then the other is just, maybe genuine authenticity with some of this live stuff. I don't think either one may be better, or it's just what fits your personality.
Well, what I'll tell you is better is if you can combine the two. It's absolutely the best. And that's what I've tried to do the most. If you compare me to a guy like Brad McCallum, I don't create the same quality content that he does. But my stuff's good. It is high end. This is a quality picture here on Breakfast with the Broker. But when you're able to put the authenticity in with a quality image and a quality shot, it not only is it captivating to look at, but then people are actually going to connect with you when they hear your message.
Did you know anything about video before you started this?
I knew absolutely nothing.
And what did you do research? Was there maybe people that brought you along, or people that you leaned on?
Yeah, so I spent a lot of time on YouTube watching videos on how to do certain things with video. And then I found a local videographer who was helping me for some of my bigger projects. And I leaned on them a lot for knowledge. If you're paying somebody for a service, they're going to help you when you need some help. Plus, my videographer is more of a media company. They operate as, somebody that comes in, helps businesses grow their brand. So they love what I'm doing and they're very willing to help me to build this and make sure that what they're doing for me complements and enhances what I'm already doing on my own. So finding that sort of person in your market to be able to lean on is very important, but it does require a financial commitment.
Yeah, you see, like most realtors are looking for this instant gratification, right? They buy these lead generation programs or they what have you, and they expect, to have a sale, within the first 30 days. Video certainly isn't that. It's building your brand for the long term rather than, the short term, and not relying on anyone else other than yourself and the content that you provide.
Well, I
So,
mean, that's
you know,
that's the difference between a hooker and a marriage. One you can pay for, it's quick, it's easy, it comes fast. The other one you have to put a lot of work into and it takes a lot of time.
Yeah, and it takes a lot of personalities to go weave through as well.
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
been married for 18 years. So, but yeah, that's funny. The video and building your brand is so important in our day and age because you got to set yourself apart. And you do a great job, as you said, you're doing both professional and being authentic. What I mean, I guess you got to really self-reflect maybe as to what you really like to do and how you want to do it. Because not many people, if I would have told you 18 months ago before you got the video that you'd be drinking beer and I don't even know what a bird dog is, but eating bird dogs on camera, you probably say I'm crazy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the content in and of itself kind of forms around my personality, and anybody else that's thinking about doing video, it's going to form around your personality. And in my opinion, I would highly recommend that that's the way you go. Like when I first started video, I was like, oh, I'm going to put this up. I'm going to create some real estate related content. It'll be great. Until I realized that people don't want to hear about my work. The same way I don't want to hear when I go to the bar, I want to talk about sports. I don't want to talk about the other person's job and what they've got going on there. It's just not interesting to me. So for me, when I kind of grasped that, I was like, what content can I put out that people are actually interested in? And I felt like, general reviews of food around town were something people would be interested in. And then people that know me know I'm passionate about craft beer. They knew that that sort of content was going to resonate well with them.
And your virtual baby shower or your virtual gifts, putting your gifts together and stuff, that was pretty cool too.
Yeah, I mean that's adapting. I mean that's one of those things. My wife's pregnant. For those of you who do not know, we're due in July, so we're in the third trimester right now, and we haven't been able to have gatherings for like a baby shower because of coronavirus, but we've been able to adapt to it. And, while that's a part of my personal life and adapting to that and having those virtual baby showers in order to thank people for the gifts they've sent us, that's also the same mindset I have with my business. When I hit something like this, I've already developed the video. I already have this for my business. Now, how do I adapt it to the current situation?
Absolutely. So when most people want to go viral, right? I want to go viral. I mean, I speak to my daughters. I have 3 girls, and my 14-year-old, all she wants to do is be TikTok famous or those kind of things. Should that be your goal to try and go viral?
Not at all. I mean, so maybe one of the most viral videos of all time is the Charlie Bit My Finger video. Probably most people have seen it. It's 2 English kids. The brother bites the finger and they're like, oh, Charlie bit my finger. It blew up. It got like millions and millions and millions of views on YouTube. No one can tell me who those 2 people are. I don't know their name. You don't know their name. Just because you go viral, there's no brand awareness as a result of it. However, almost everybody knows who their local weatherman is because they see him all the time. So the wealth of content is so much more important than that one-time viral video that blows up. Yeah,
100%. You're looking at, creating content during this COVID-19, and obviously, maybe we've been more affected. I'm not sure. I don't know what the numbers are in South Carolina, but South Florida certainly has been somewhat of a hotbed. What kind of content have you been careful what you're producing? Are you prospecting those kind of things during this crisis?
So yeah, I mean, the content I'm putting out, a lot of my stuff, because it has one other person in the videos with me, we had to put a lot of thought early on to say like, hey, do we want to continue to actually meet together to do these videos? And we decided that if it was just two of us on camera, it was fine. So, but we took those, and instead of filming Foodie Fridays in restaurants, we stopped doing that. Beer of the Week, we stopped doing in a shop. We actually brought that to my house and we film it on my back porch. So, we changed locations, we adapted that way. But, with the weekly content, it is tough because you want to make sure you're presenting yourself well. You don't want people to get a negative view of you because you're sitting a couple feet away from somebody else. So, that's been difficult. When it comes to prospecting, honestly, I've kind of kept a lot of things the same for me. I wasn't the type that had to go to different local functions or, go to church on Sunday in order to interact with my sphere of influence. I'm a true millennial. The way I interact with people is almost entirely via social media and on my phone. So a lot of those correspondence haven't really changed. It's just, what we're talking about is a little different.
That's awesome. So what when you're doing these content and like let's talk maybe a little bit about perhaps like maybe starter equipment or how maybe a newer person or someone just getting into video, what kind of equipment should they use, and maybe where should they put it out first?
Yeah. So I got a Sony Handycam when I got started. They're about, I got it refurbished for like $450. So that, it creates a much clearer image than a cell phone does. So I personally liked having that in my back pocket. You definitely need a tripod if you're going to get something like that to be able to hold the camera in front of you. I don't like people holding their phone in their hand or even on like a gimbal because there's movement. And I'm not a big fan of that. I like the stationary shots, especially if it's a talking head shot. If you're talking to the camera and you're just getting out information or you're reviewing like a piece of pizza or whatever, that looks a lot better than a shaky camera. So, and if you're filming like out in public, you don't need someone with you to hold the camera. You can go out by yourself, set it on a tripod and get going. That to me is the most important. And then I would get one of these like Rode mics. So I have this one right here. It's just a little shotgun mic. It actually goes on top of the camera and it plugs into the audio jack on the camera. This allows you to pick up pretty decent audio at a short range. So if you get that, you plug that directly into the camera, you have very little editing that has to be done on the back end. It's really just a matter of chopping off the front and chopping off the end if you do a good talking head video.
And what editing software do you use?
So, I do a little more advanced editing. So I use Adobe software. Premiere Pro is what I use to pretty much edit everything. I started there because I wanted to learn it. I didn't want to get attached to another editing software that didn't have the same capabilities. And then, 6 months later, want to move to Adobe and not know what I'm looking at. So I learned video on the software, and I think that's one of the best decisions I made because now I feel a lot more at home when I'm in that application.
As I said, you do a really good job in kind of bringing in the original and authenticity of Bob Thompkins. So, like we talk about the Foodie Fridays and stuff like that, and like a lot of these people, they don't kind of self-reflect the way they are or how they should be. And, is there some advice that you would give, to newer videographers or people that are realtors that are saying, hey, you know what, as we were talking off camera, you're forced, a lot of times maybe you and I have a little bit of leg up because we, already embraced technology prior to this, and now they're starting to have to get into it, and forced to it. So maybe a little bit more, maybe tips on maybe a vlog or a consistency that, you kind of continue to do.
Yeah, so a couple things here. I mean, when you talk about consistency, I'll kind of answer this backwards. When you talk about consistency, to me, the biggest thing is accountability. If you don't have accountability, you're not going to do it. And even though I do a ton of this video stuff, you'll notice almost every weekly video I do is with someone else, because that adds a layer. They're texting me because it's beneficial for their business. So, hey, when are we getting together? When are we going to film this? And we've made it consistent now to where we have time block times that we meet together to film those. But there's an expectation on both sides that we're going to be there. We're going to produce this and get it out. So I would, whatever you do, partner with somebody in your market that also believes in video, because you can grow together and you can benefit each other's business. Then when it comes to like being on camera, if you haven't been on camera before, some people, they may look at you, look at me, and they're like, oh, I can never do that. And part of that is you are never going to be me, but I'm also never going to be you. We have completely different personalities. We reach completely different audiences. And the best advice I can give people getting started, the people that follow you on social media, that are your friends on social media, they already like you. You don't have to try and be somebody else that you're not. You're able to go on, be yourself, because they already like who that is, and they're going to interact and engage with your content because of that.
Awesome. And, listen, you've done a great business with video, and, and I think the great advice is to have skin in the game and have some accountability partners. And I think that's awesome advice. So what other what other things that are you working on that maybe you can maybe let the cat out of the bag a little bit on things that are coming up for Bob Thompkins?
Yeah, so we had one big one in the works. I can't get too much information on it, but it's another music video. That's, I think, what people know me for the most, because we did Old Town Realtor, then we did Bob Never Broke My Heart. And while Bob Never Broke My Heart didn't get 1 million views, it did get an Inman article, so I was pretty proud of that. But we had another one in the works, and I actually had a pretty special guest that was supposed to be out here filming in the video with me. But coronavirus kind of put things off. People aren't able to make flights right now, so we've had to delay that idea. Hopefully, it's still relevant when we kind of come out of this. But we're always working on something. The thing is we do the consistent stuff on a weekly basis, so we stay relevant. Like I've got 3-4 videos out every week. I stay relevant while we come up with the big ideas. So when a big idea comes out, it's not like I've been missing in action for 2 months.
So, in South Carolina, obviously, as we talked about COVID-19, how is it in South Carolina? How you managing, how your clients managing, how other your colleagues managing?
Yeah, so our governor doesn't take it all that seriously, which is great, I guess. So from a public health standpoint, it's awful because we've actually had a couple places that have been declared hotspots, including the zip code next to me. So it's for that, for the amount of people we have a tremendous amount of cases. I actually was looking at case numbers today. We have like the same amount of cases as Florida on a daily basis, and y'all have like more than 3 times the population we do. So that's not a good statistic. But because our governor is pretty lax and he's allowing businesses for the most part to continue to operate, people don't have a sense of panic, a sense of fear. So, business has been pretty good for us. It hasn't been shut down at all.
That's great. Yeah, we're also fortunate in South Florida that, real estate has been deemed essential. And, unfortunately, some of our colleagues in Pennsylvania and New York aren't as fortunate. And, it takes a big toll. I mean, we're all in this together, and although we're out there selling real estate, and we're selling houses, and we're talking to people, and their most expensive asset. We care about the community so much that we're trying to give back. We're trying to do everything we can to help those people as you are as well.
Right.
I always end this interviews on what do we not know about Bob that you care to share?
Man, that's a tough one. I'm a pretty open book. But what I will tell people, it's a part of my backstory that maybe a lot of people don't know. So before I was a real estate agent, I was a bartender. But before I was a bartender, I was a pastor. So people always think that's a funny transition that I went from being a pastor to a bartender, then to a real estate agent. So it's funny the way that happens. People that didn't know me before then, they always think that's humorous. But I'm a pretty open book. I tend to put most of my stuff out there, so there's not many surprises.
So, what beer are you drinking these days? What's your favorite beer? What's your beer of choice right now?
So I bounce around a lot. There's one that I had for the first time about a week and a half ago. It was Left Hand Brewing's peanut butter milk stout. Unbelievable beer. Tastes just like a Reese's cup. So that one right now is the one that's at the top of mind.
Yeah, I saw that on your virtual baby showers. And this is your first child coming?
It is. It is our first.
Congratulations. Best of health and all of that. Best of your family and everything. So we certainly appreciate you being on. Can't thank you enough, Bob. I mean, I've been watching you. You're a RE/MAX socialite out in R4, and it was fun. And thanks for being Rebecca Stenhouse's bodyguard.
Yeah. I tried to look out when I could, but no, David, I appreciate it, man. This has been a lot of fun. I love your show, Breakfast on the Broker. You get great people on here. I heard you got a pretty good one next week. I heard.
Yes, that's a good segue. Breakfast with the Broker every Tuesday morning at 9 a.m. We have a very special guest as well next Tuesday at 9 a.m. We have Ryan Sarahan. He is the $1 million listing. He's got over 1.5 million followers on Instagram, and he's going to talk to us about Sell with Sarahan and all of his projects that's going on, maybe the New York real estate market as well. We're very excited to have him. But Bob, listen, you're my first singer that ever came on. So maybe there's a role for you in movies, Hollywood. Where are you
maybe
going?
I don't know. As long as they can auto tune in Hollywood the same way they do in the studio here, we might be good.
Yeah, I don't look this beautiful. The video does that.
Yeah, that's all video quality. That's,
100%.
Yeah.
All right, Bob. Thanks so much. I appreciate it. Take care. Breakfast with the Broker every Tuesday morning at 9 a.m. Definitely tune in next Tuesday. We're looking forward to it. And guys, have a great week. Stay healthy, stay safe, stay home. I will speak to you soon.